Recording. At least I think so. Hooray.
Hello, welcome to the weekly mobile support meeting for Mozilla, where we talk about Firefox OS support, Firefox for Android support. Thank you, all these men, for joining. Look at all these men on this call today.
Well, I don't know about Ricky. Sometimes I worry about his
Excellent group.
facial expressions.
That's yeah.
Just kidding. Ricky looks awesome, as always.
Um, there is an Etherpad for this meeting. It happens every week right here, 10:30 a.m. We are thrilled to have Sumo Dev here with us today. You are first on the agenda. We don't have an update from QA today, which is fine. Naoki usually leaves an update. So check back on the Etherpad. He might leave one in there later today. We don't have anything to follow up on from last week, so you guys can launch in. I think you're going to give us an awesome demo of an offline app for Sumo. We did all the mobile optimizations you guys did are awesome from last year. And I think, Michael, you've been working on it, or you and Shuhao? I don't know.
Hi.
Tell us.
So Shuhao has been an intern for about 10 weeks now, and he's been working on a prototype app to access the KB from a Firefox OS phone without an internet connection. And this is kind of his first prototype that he's ready to show off. And yeah, so I will let him take it from here.
All right, sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, I have to share my screen. Hold on. There we go. Can we see that? There we go. So I'm posting a link to the channel so that everybody has an opportunity to try it out. There we go. So if you go to that link, it should load the same page that you're seeing here. This is basically a Firefox OS app that allows you to download articles and browse them offline. So like to show this off, initially if you load the page, you get this screen and it tells you to install the device, check updates, that kind of stuff. What install the device does is that it will actually install this into an app. So if you click on this, obviously it doesn't really work here because there's some issues with desktop apps right now. If you click install apps on a Firefox OS or Android device, it would place it on your home screen. Over here we have select a language, so users can select like their favorite language of choice and download a bundle of articles from Sumo. Right. So and then the language feature right now, it tries to auto-detect your language as best as it can, but it falls back to like essentially what you want. The download here is taking a little bit longer. I'm thinking that is because I have like a slower network connection right now. I'm not too sure. But yeah, hold on. This is taking a little bit longer. Demos.
Is it downloading from Stage or what?
Yeah, I'm trying to download from Stage. I'm gonna bring up a terminal just to see what happens.
Make sure it's configured right.
Yeah.
I downloaded the Firefox OS content and it was like instant.
It was it?
Yeah, it was instant, like an instant download. The Firefox OS content though. Let me see the Firefox desktop one. Maybe just bigger.
Cool.
I think maybe I have some issue with Nightly right now because this wouldn't load either. I don't know. Do you guys have any luck trying the page if there's a link?
Yeah, it actually downloaded both. I think it's your installation, but the code seems to work.
Yeah, let's take a look. It might just be an issue with. Yeah. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. right, I'm gonna just refresh this page. Yeah, there we go. It's downloaded. I think it just stalled on me a little bit. But yeah, so this is the prototype. You can go in and browse the content. Oh, okay. Yeah, stream is lagging a little.
So do you guys see a red delete button at the bottom of the screen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, did that just come up, or was that a while ago? I'm just asking because I'm watching the stream on video, and I want to make sure that you're seeing the right thing. Okay, so.
Yep, I see delete.
Okay,
All right.
go ahead.
So, yeah, so, yeah, you can go in and browse the site, and it resembles the current mobile theme, which is fine, and it's all a single page app, so like there's no page reload. This is all done in JavaScript, so it works well. You can go into any of these articles, and like all of these will interlink into each other. Some of the content has been archived, so these content are not downloaded because I assume they're like mostly out of date.
Yeah.
And it tries to give you a link to redirect you to the page if you encounter one of those. So yeah, this is pretty much it. There's a search functionality baked into the site right now, so if you can search something like bookmarks, it's fairly fast about this kind of stuff, except right now there might be some. Hold on. I'm having some trouble with like nightly today.
That's your fault for using nightly.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so like, well, I'm gonna like get this sorted. Is there any like questions about like the feature set? I don't know actually why this is not really working.
So about,
Because it's a demo.
This is really great.
Sorry,
this is really
Kidair.
amazing.
Go ahead.
I want to say this is really amazing. This is really great. I'm also seeing this for the first time in production here. So this is really awesome. One question about the navigation. It's not quite the one that we had on the side, right? Is that because there were limitations in terms of how that was to be implemented, or did you just wanted to try a different way of navigating?
So the navigation of the Sumo app is a little bit different. First of all, you have to download content, which is something that you don't like. Like you don't really need to do that in the official site. And the second thing is we have this back button here, and this is because in Firefox OS there's no back button like for an app, so you have to actually implement one your own. And the way that does it right now, which might not be the optimal way, is that it just goes back, like history go back one. And it works to a reasonable extent, right? You can go back to the last page, and so forth, and that's all fine. There are some other like different UI, like there is images that we don't download initially because it would just be too big to download. So I don't know if this is showing up now, but I think it is that when you encounter a page that have images, they give you this gray box, and when you click on it, it tries to load it. And there's also this button here that downloads all the images for that page, which you don't see on Sumo as well. And the sidebar obviously is a little bit different just because we can't really do everything on an offline app that we can do on the Sumo site, but it does offer you to switch to the online Sumo site.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
one
great
of the
stuff.
things I think that this is super duper great. The thing that will appreciate some love, I guess, is the launching screen or the installation process.
Right.
How to streamline that? Because I see one thing on the language aspect of it and how to download that content. the reality of the situation is that there's not that many languages localized. So maybe we could work a little bit on the UX of this. And I don't know, for example, if you select Firefox OS, we give you the 4 languages that we have available right now. If you select Firefox, we give you the 10, 11 languages that we have available right now, etc. Used to not to make it misleading. Otherwise, I think it's super fantastic.
Yeah, we've actually had some discussions about how to streamline that first page.
Mm-hmm.
And some other issues that have been raised with it is sometimes you don't know if sometimes you don't know what device you're on. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of users won't know if they're on Firefox or Firefox OS or Firefox for Android. So one of the things we've talked about is to auto-detect what you should have and automatically download that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're an advanced user, you can override that. And so in part of that smart intelligence for the downloading, we can also include, what languages are good to download. Because, for example, I don't think we had very many localized articles in Burmese. So if you're running Burmese, we might just show an error or show a warning that you won't have as much luck here. So those kind of UI improvements, they require more information that we didn't have when we made this prototype, but they're definitely something to do in the future.
Perfect.
So how is this? What's the plan for how a user discovers this? So this will be in the marketplace?
Yeah, so once we get this beyond the prototype phase, if we decide this is something that we want to go forward with and we want to support in the future, then it would be in the marketplace. And I haven't thought much about discovery yet, but maybe we could do something like if you visit the site on a Firefox OS phone, we might recommend the app. Or not. I don't know if that's something we want to do.
Yeah, like you have a banner on top of mobile pages sometimes. They ask you to install the app.
Yeah,
so a way to make it discoverable.
I think we need to balance, discoverability, but also we don't want to be annoying, because I know a lot of those, hey, use our mobile app, is kind of annoying to me.
Yeah.
I think it might be neat wherever you have that help button or whatever links to the support website currently in the menu of Firefox OS, if that kind of the first time you click on it triggers a little thing saying, hey, do you want to just get the help app and download offline help so you can keep checking support offline? Maybe something like that. So it's a little bit deeper integrated with the actual phone itself, so people are stumbling on it a little easier.
Yeah, that would be nice. It would be probably difficult to integrate that into Firefox OS just because you have to do that like 6 months ahead of time. Also, this is, as you might have noticed, it's a severe subset of the support site. You can't ask questions. There is no Army of Awesome. There's no discussion. There's no editing. And that's all kind of on purpose because those don't really make sense for an offline-focused application.
Okay.
Because those all require having an internet connection to interact with other people. So, and the point of that was that I don't think that we should push this as the first line of defense, just because it's kind of limited.
Well, but I think that help articles is our first line of defense. We help more people with help articles than any other way. So it is the right thing to have in front of people once we get it to the state where you want it. I mean, I think it looks great. My other question is, so after it's installed from the marketplace, do you have content or not yet? Okay, so it's not like
no, you have to. No, it's not included as part of the. So the way most Firefox OS apps that are similar to this app work, and by similar I mean in a technical sense, not like offline wiki. You have to launch the app once in order to download the content to your phone, and simply installing them won't do that. So in this case, we can make it that on first launch, it will download the first bundle, but you have to have a connection at that point.
Yeah.
So would that be a new requirement we could ask for on first launch?
Do you mean something we can change in this application?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we could do that, right?
Yeah, that would be pretty simple to do. Everything in the code, there's nothing forbidding us from doing that. Actually, it detects your platform already. It just doesn't actually show this on the box or download it automatically for you right now. But yes, we can do this. And the other thing is that we don't really, we haven't really looked into marketplace deployment yet, which is like something we could look into, because I haven't figured out how the app installation actually works from marketplace. But it shouldn't be something that's very difficult to do.
And luckily, we also have quite a few people who are very good at using the marketplace around here, so we can draw from them to get that working.
So I was just thinking that maybe we should just have 3 apps then. One called Firefox support, one, I don't know, desktop support, one called Sumo desktop, one called Sumo FFOS, and one called Sumo Android. Then you don't have to have this first screen. Or I'm sure you guys thought of this, but...
Actually, so I haven't thought about that, or we haven't thought about that. I don't think that's necessary, because we can make it so that when you download the single app, it detects which platform you're currently running on and gets the support for that.
Okay.
But that's certainly something we can explore. There's nothing really technically challenging about that.
And you're right. The users don't know which one they want then if you had 3 apps, so I understand that. And my last question is, we've been talking in Firefox for Android about synthetic APKs to make it a first-class citizen. Maybe if and when those plans come to fruition, we could adapt this thing so it would be a first-class Android application. But that's like Firefox for Android 26 or 27 or 28.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about those, what do you call them, simulated APKs?
Yeah, so basically the idea is that web apps aren't first-class citizens on Android, on Firefox for Android. So in order to make them look like Firefox for Android, Marketplace would generate a wrapper APK around your HTML5 app. So this is like way down the road, but I just thought I'd let you guys know about that.
Okay, I'm sure that when that lands in Firefox for Android, we can consider that. But I have never heard of this before, so I can't really say if it's feasible from a point of view.
It's just an FYI that there is possibility of divergence on Android, only simply because we want to look like Android apps. That's all. Right. But right now, this is awesome. I totally agree with what everyone else is saying. I want it now. It with its imperfect state. I'd like it now. Thank you.
Another thing is that once you download the articles and select it, like if you download the articles and then you launch the app again, it will automatically detect which product and language you're in and put you in as close as it can the right one. If you have multiple products and multiple languages, it gets tricky, and then you get a selector screen. But if you only have one product and one language, it will just direct you to that one. And so, like, essentially, that first screen you will only see it once, and you can, you can fiddle with it again later on if you want to. But like, we can always just hide this button into like settings or something like that, where essentially the users don't really have to fiddle around with that too much.
Perfect.
So I also think that this is an amazing app. Just like everybody else is saying, I think it will be really helpful for the users and also for some of the for like Vivo or Movistar, maybe their support agents might need something like that if they don't have a very good internet connection at the time to provide support to the users that call in. So I think that is really awesome. One thing that I just noticed, whenever I clicked on, and I'm accessing it through Firefox on desktop, but whenever I clicked on install to device, it said that it installed just fine. But I was trying to find if there's a plugin or an add-on that I could access it. Do you know where?
What are you on? Mac, Linux, Windows?
Mac.
I believe that there should be like an icon on your desktop or in your applications folder for it. the desktop experience for Firefox apps is actually really subpar right now, and there's not much we can do about it.
Okay.
So in fact, we might just hide that button on desktop in the future.
Mhm.
But this is really targeted at a mobile device.
Yeah.
Okay.
On mobile, it creates an application icon on the home screen, which is great.
Yeah. And we don't you don't have to press that install button in order to get offline support on desktop.
Mhm.
You just have to download a bundle, and then it will work.
Awesome. Okay. And would it be possible to do a way of when you download the content, also choosing to download all the images that come along with it?
So that's an interesting problem. It's more of a technical problem than a there's multitude of problems. There's like the first one is bandwidth. A lot of images is a lot of bandwidth, and the way we store images, like the way we're limited to store images on the client side, actually increases the amount of the size of the download by a factor of 3 or 4, I think. Which is problematic. That's one thing, and the second thing is it's difficult to actually figure out. Like these are all technical problems. Like it's possible to do this. It's just like it's pretty difficult to do it, and I don't know if it's optimal to do it. The other thing is that once we start to download all images, and if they get replaced, we don't necessarily know that these images are being replaced. It's hard to infer, and that will cause additional like bandwidth penalties to verify essentially if an image is in use or not, and so forth. Um, um, I wouldn't know how big the entire bundle right now would be, just because it's actually a really hard task to track down every single images that's being used right now. Another thing is, like that's been discussed before, is that we would essentially go through all the list of like the top 10 or top 20 articles and download images for those, as opposed to downloading it for everything. And then you also have problems like if we're on like images, you also have problems with videos, which currently is not downloaded, and that just wouldn't show up if you have if you don't have an internet connection. And actually, there might be a box that's in there. I'm not exactly sure at this point. I don't remember what I did on that part. But yeah, so like videos and images is interesting problems, and downloading everything would be a lot, I'm gonna assume, because like pretty much like I want to say at least 50% of the articles that I saw, like personally when I was playing around with, had images, at least 1 or 2 images embedded. So yeah, that's something we have to like think about how to do it correctly, just because we don't want to download like 500 megabytes or something like that when the user clicks download.
I would say that all makes sense. There are a huge number of graphics, especially in the mobile articles. Could we at least have a little text on that gray box so people know to click it or tap on it to get the image?
Yes, we can. That's not. It wasn't done just primarily because Bram made the placeholder image, and we had some like trouble thinking about how to localize the placeholder image, because we either have to localize all the images or we have to like put an overlay text, which I haven't done yet. But yes, so like essentially that's the idea, is like eventually have a placeholder like label on the images, but it's just not implemented at this point.
Okay, yeah, just something that says click it. I don't know if I would have thought to click it.
Yeah.
Right.
To get it to show up, but it's super easy. I think that's a good way to do it. I mean, there are other text-related things that we might want to have. Some sort of, I don't know what kind of description text. Of course, we'd have description text for the app in the marketplace. But something about what this is. I mean, on the front page, it says download for your product, but maybe something about, that it's help articles or just a little more text. But I think this is really great. I mean, having something in the marketplace will be, if you guys decide to support this, I think really awesome for users and another way to discover support that they might not have.
I think we should label it as alpha and put it in the marketplace. Are we allowed to do that?
We could probably do that. I think there's some there are some technical things we need to deal with before we can deploy this to a broader base. Right now, it's using the sumo staging site because we aren't ready to bring this into the production site. But once we get that worked out, I don't know of any technical reason why we can't put this in the marketplace as an alpha.
That's what we should do. And is the code on GitHub, and can I build it myself because I'm impatient? Is the code on GitHub, yes. And then I can build it myself, right? I know lots of apps developers and who can help me build it.
Yes, you can build it yourself. There might be one issue right now with deployment, but if you want to just run it on your own computer, it should be fine.
Yeah.
I have pretty detailed instruction on how to do this. It's actually pretty complicated to get it set up. Like in order to set it up right now, since we don't have the sumo component, like the Kitsune component on production yet, it's actually like you will have to run your own copy of sumo essentially on your computer to see this working. But once we clear that and are able to like push essentially this branch into sumo's master, you should just be able to run this without like any real issue.
Awesome. You should do that yesterday. Just kidding. Whenever is appropriate.
One little nitpick, the topic icons, it would be great to have them next to the topics that we are displaying. Makes it really more visual and easier to select the right one.
Oh, those things.
That would be great.
That would be nice. Yeah.
So when we were developing that part of the app, the topics and subtopics and the organization of all that was really in flux, so we didn't want to put a lot of detail into it yet. But now that it's all stabilized, we can definitely do that.
Cool. That's great.
So we talked a little, this is awesome, and we just have 1 minute left in this meeting, but this is amazing. We're all super excited. I can't believe we already have this prototype, so that's great. And we talked about sort of the most important thing to get off a device for support purposes is what is this device? This is the question we always ask people when they ask us a question. So it's just something to roll around in your heads if there's a way for this app to at some point become so privileged that it could tell us what device the user is on. That's like our pie in the sky, way in the future, a year away kind of a thing. But that's where we'd like to head with something like a support app.
You mean like get troubleshooting information, Michelle? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, in Firefox OS, it's called device information.
Right.
But even just make and model is a huge step forward when someone asks us a question. So for all of you devs, it's just something to think about that would be super helpful. I know it's not a now thing, it's a totally future thing.
Yeah, I suspect that there might be a way to do this in the future, but it would take some research, and it would definitely be cool to have some more detailed information about the device.
Yep. Or a way they could send us a bundle. Aha.
Yeah. Let's just get this one into alpha first.
I know. But that's going to be a snap. No, thanks for your work on getting this to production and into the marketplace. If there's anything we can help with or other requirements, let us know. And
Kadir, can we get this into the roadmap?
Thanks, Michael.
Sprint
and Shuyan.
I think we should. I mean, this is really great, but we should probably think about the use cases and see if we are supporting them ideally. Like how do people get to use it? Like how do they get to it, and how would they use it to make sense of it? But then, yes, we should absolutely get this in front of people.
Yeah, we could do that in parallel while we get the quick and dirty alpha version up. That's not a problem, right? Okay.
Okay, everybody. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks for this demo. Great stuff.
Right.
Do some testing, everyone.
I hope my recording worked. This was fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Interns rock.
Actually, regarding testing, this demo isn't going to work for very much longer because we have to take it off stage so we can use stage for deployment. So I think we can probably leave it up for a little longer, but we do have to take it down eventually.
Right. If you guys need testing help, I'm a very enthusiastic tester of this. I know there are other people, but just ping me anytime. I can help test. Awesome.
Yeah, if there's anything you want to like see, you can the GitHub link is on in the channel, and you can just file an issue there. And this way, we don't all forget. And I think maybe at one point we can move it to Bugzilla if we decide to support it.
Michelle, can you put the link in the Etherpad, please? I'm
do.
recording the whole screen here, and I don't see anything else. Thank you.
Yep, I'll put it in there.
Great. Okay. Can I stop the recording?
Yep.
All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
stop and recording.
See you next week.
See you next week.